the film Wow. That was pretty intense, but I couldn't help but notice how beautiful Croatia looked. So I would love to know if you were able to actually enjoy any of your time there during filming.
Um, yes, I agree. Wow. Intense, but also the shooting was incredibly intense, but the benefit of being in such a beautiful location is that we were very much able to enjoy it. Not only did we film in some of the most beautiful, like picturesque areas. That's the whole place. I mean, everywhere you look is there's the Diocletian Palace, which we filmed in a lot, which is a 2,000-year-old Roman emperor's summer home, and it's the whole city. It's just these ancient Roman corridors, and within those walls are wonderful shops and restaurants, and a promenade. Where I was staying was about 20, 30 minutes south. And so on the weekends and every other time that I had off, I was on the beach and it was really nice. We took like a boat to Hvar, which is a beautiful island. There are a lot of them there that are also old, like Venetian ports. Um, and also just honestly like food at a marina, like pasta and oysters and stuff like that. It's just like, I mean, is this annoying to say? It's just like so great. It was awesome. It was like a little vacation. So I got to very much enjoy it while filming and also while off.
Michelle, Kid Congeniality.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. So, I loved your character, Kate. From the beginning, I perceived her as timid and mousy, and I loved the evolution towards the end of how she grows into this, strong woman who has to do what she has to do, right? How was it to play that role, and what types of things did you have to draw upon in yourself that you gave to the character to become and bring that strong, woman vibe across?
Yeah. So when I first got the script, I saw Beth as a 35-year-old with a 10-month-old, 9 or 10-month-old. And that was exactly the ages of me and my child at the time. And so that was the first thing that I was like, wow, it's so interesting. And I wonder where this goes. And I really was so excited as I read it, and also while filming, of course, and going into the scenes beforehand during rehearsals, that I was able to have a character that I could explore as through the eyes of a new mother. I think that was a really interesting and important perspective for me to explore. And her journey is one that I think, while it's unique to a film that is a mystery thriller suspense, it's sort of like heightened in every way. But I do think that a lot of new mothers go through the same shift that she's going through. One being, her worry, her guilt, her sort of losing of her former self, and how she, used to be this more free, wild, at least, driven person towards her career. And now she's given that up, which, we all know being a mom is harder work than going to work. So her finding herself in her relationship as a mother, in her friendships, in her body, in her career, all these ways that she's different. And one of the things that's really changed for her is becoming, I think more filled with self-doubt and not following her gut and following her instincts and what she knows. And I think that shifts in a really incredibly powerful way for her during her journey through such a tragic and harrowing sequence of events. And she comes into her own and her own power, which I think was really wonderful to play. And also having seen it, I really love how it was captured. So yeah, I'm really proud of it.
That's great. You kind of see Mama Bear come out at the end there. I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Robin, Mom the Magnificent.
Hi. So this was a very captivating thriller, and I wanted to know, in the midst of all of these thrilling and high suspense scenes, do you have a favorite moment from filming, or maybe most challenging moment from filming?
Well, all of, all of it was in its own way challenging. I mean, we shot, for the most part, just sort of generally speaking, we shot a lot of the ending of the movie first, which for me, I really enjoy that because I feel like a lot of the really hard, tough scenes, physical, emotional, mental, were filmed sort of like front loaded. And for me, kind of biting those off at first were really helpful for me, especially before I had created real rapport with everybody. So there was like a lack of self-consciousness and also, less of like a warmth and friendship that I had even with like the cops who were interrogating me and accusing me. Those moments were really hard, especially the interrogation scenes in the police station. I don't want to give away too much, but I found those to be really hard. And this sounds really wimpy, but the days when we had like 8 to 10 hours of just running, I was like, I'm not a runner. That was tough, but in a way really fun. And I think it gives a lot of intensity to the film that's important, because Beth is going through this incredibly frantic, panicky, desperate journey, and I think it's heightened by the fact that she doesn't have her child with her. I think that I understand that just in my own life as being a real nightmare scenario, being thousands of miles away and no way to get back. During filming, I had my younger kid with me, but I did have to send my older daughter back to the States with her dad because he was working, and that would have been the most fair thing to do for her because I was working so much. And I'll tell you, that was really hard. And I mean, even a day away from my kids it's in a way sometimes nice, but it's also, it's just hard. And it's got a lot, and there's a lot more feeling attached to it. So like a weekend away in general, where like, that's what you want so bad. Coming back home is really also wonderful and just splendid and impossible for Beth, for the big portion of the film.
Annika, the Mommy Factor.
Hi, I was curious to know, one, how you first heard about the film, and two, what was it about the character that either drew you in, that you said, oh, this is something I can totally relate to, this is me, or was an opposite? You're like, you know what, I haven't done this, or that personality trait is not me, and I'd like to explore it.
Yeah, so I heard about the film by it being sent to me. I was, the first thing that I saw was filming in Croatia, and I was like, okay, tell me more. So that was something that caught my eye. And like I said before, I when I first read the script, it was a 35-year-old with like a 10-month-old. And that's exactly the stage that I was in as well. And I was like, wow, okay. I wonder where this is going, like how this will factor in. And I do think that in a wonderful way, the child and her presence is not in the background as far as this film goes. She's desperate, Beth is desperate to get back to her. So in all these ways, portraying a new mother going through such a transition that I think we're all familiar with, and going through obviously a heightened reality as well. All of it is something that I was excited to portray. I will say that I was excited to play a new mother going through that, but then also to play someone a little different in the sense that she's not quite able to stand strong in herself, and she's learning to do that. Having gone through a huge transition, and even in other ways, I can relate to it, but also I just felt like I had never portrayed that in any of my roles. And also, it's not something that's familiar to me in things that I've seen. So I really liked seeing that in this movie. And while it is, could be considered a character description, like she's a new mom, it's such an important part of how she navigates through the world.
So I am very glad that you said you were able to enjoy your time when you weren't filming and having a little bit of a vacation there, because like we talked about already, the film is really intense. I'm wondering how that kind of impacted the vibe on the set, having so much tension in the actual storytelling that you were creating.
Well, it does. I mean, inevitably, even on a film, like as you become friendly and familiar with everybody, we're spending time offset together, having, meals together and rehearsals. And during the last few weeks of filming, Christina, who played Kate, came and actually stayed next door to me down in a slightly different area from Split. It's called Puttstrana. It's like somewhat more like of a little beach town. And so that was really nice to have beach days with her. And I spent time with her and her, fiance and my kid, and it was lovely. But as we all know, the film, get relaxing beach days. So there was that sort of click into, sort of drop back into the tension. And the truth is that I think it is almost like a muscle memory, at least for me, when I've done enough background and discussion and rehearsal and sort of just figuring out how I want to do a scene or what choices I want to make, and then being able to sort of let all of it go. And as we're lighting and doing touch-ups and kind of finally coming into it, I think clicking back in is an important part. And there was a lot of wonderful space to be able to do that on this film, where, if anybody needed a moment or to go through anything or to talk it out, we all were very supportive of each other, which was really wonderful. And I mean, it's common, I think, like I've been lucky enough for that to be a common thing. So yeah, I mean, there was definitely tension, but then of course I can't help it at times to be like, can we break this tension and just like laugh? So there was plenty of that. So I'm glad that there was a little bit of a balance for me, for my own self.
Michelle, go on.
Hi. So my next question is, for prep for a role, I know every actor has a different method, but did you read the book, or did you rely more on the script and the interpretation that you wanted to bring to the character, or did you do combo?
Well, I was lucky enough. Well, I read the book after I did the movie. And one of the reasons why was because I knew of the, not huge range of differences, but like there are a few different things that, ways that the book differs from the script. And I didn't really want that to throw me off, though now that I've read it, I don't think that it would have. The other aspect of that was really helpful was the fact that Sarah Alderson also wrote the script. So on the page, it was incredibly rich. There was so much to the characters already. And it really did read like an adaptation, which was super lucky for me. And in every way, I was able to communicate to her, to ask questions, to change the way that, my character says something, or an intention of a scene or something that we were doing, so that it would make more sense to me. And so that was a really wonderful collaboration. And I kind of forget that question now. Oh, as far as reading the book, if I prepared. And then otherwise, I was lucky that, I was surrounded by such incredible actors, and everybody was holding such a wonderfully supportive space for me in particular, because I felt like so much of the time it was like, oh God, I gotta go into a different place what's around me. You know, I'm in this beautiful location and I have to be feeling trapped and desperate. So trying to find the emotion there. I was lucky with everybody that I was surrounded with. All the other performers were so in the moment and helped me so much. And also them just being incredibly talented veterans was just wonderful.